Attorney Better has a number of items as well.
Mr. Better.
Thank you, Judge.
Honestly, go fuck yourself, sir. You don't say that, okay? You don't lose a trial where a jury acquits someone and finds them overwhelmingly not guilty and say, I gave my sincere obligation to look into this, and I'm telling you all I saw when she's guilty. Again, respectfully, go fuck yourself.
Swear again like that. That was, you know, no, I mean, whatever. That was, I shouldn't have done that.
A few moments later.
You, as a prosecutor, have got to be out of your fucking mind.
Nose.
Dude, Jimmy, look at those ears.
The ears don't bother me as much.
No, I don't trust a man. I don't trust a man with a lobe like that. No,
really,
not a fucking chance.
The mouth is butthole to me.
Very thin, paper thin.
The nose.
Oh, the nose.
The brows.
Well, listen, I will tell you though, I kind of like a fucked up nose on a guy.
I like a big old honker. I like a big nose.
old nose. Give me that big bitch. You know,
yeah,
like, I'm into it.
Come over here, cluck cluck.
Yeah.
I see some chickens that went moving on up in my biz, cluck cluck. You gotta be with the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, kids.
And I go, oop, clutch, clench, kegel. We did it all. And I go, oh, and what happened? And they go, well, we just got 4,000 plus pages, bitch. And I said, stop it. Show me it. Take me to Unimpound Town immediately, if not sooner. So what happens?
The bitch is here.
Why are you at a football game? Are you a Fonz correspondent?
Well, no, because it's only for men over 30. Okay? Have a great night, boys. Fuck off.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
Hey, Blues Clues, motherfucker.
Oh, hello, loveys. How are we? Put on some lip shits. Let's get going. It is Monday, September 29th, 2025. And we're together again. She's double lip shitting. Oh, who is she? We don't know. Okay. Good morning to Sarah Berry. I love your doggy. Look at that. And good morning to everybody from the Narcoleptic Insomniac. I love that you are here. I love that your doggies are here. And that picture brings me joy. Why? Because I love a tall-eared king. Okay? Look at him protecting his friend. Who is he? His name is Walter. Walter and Charlotte have been together since, I don't know, the ASPCA, maybe in Mattapan. What did they do together? They formed a bond like no other. And when the Narcoleptic Insomniac went down to the ASPCA one day, what was she doing? She was going to drive down a check. And she was like, hey, babes, I'm giving money. I want to all pause on deck. Right? And all of a sudden it's Walter and Charlotte. And the lady, I think her name was definitely Stephanie, who worked there. She was like, oh, Walter and Charlotte, they came in together. They were puppies on the side of the road. And the Narcoleptic Insomniac was like, hey, babes, do you want to come home with me? Walter looked at her and he knew, that's my home. That's my mother. He walked over. Charlotte was just hiding behind him like, is this her? Is this her? He smelled her hand. Smelled her hand and said, I'm ready to come home, Mom. Okay. And this is why we're abnormal here. It's my little bit of a tall tale of Walter and Charlotte. A little ditty about Walter, Charlotte. Okay. You are my mother. Are you my mother? Yes. Oh, it's like a book. All right, loveys, hold on. I have to turn something off in the background because I'm not together. Like we can't be watching televisor. Oh. I miss an old clicker. You know what I'm saying? Now you have all the handy dandy clickers, and I think they're bullshit, if you ask me. Nobody. Auntie Deb raid. Laura C., thank you so much for showing up from an Auntie Deb raid. Want to know why? Because last night I was in the text messages with the the queens of daytime, rather. Your Auntie Deborah and Ms. Attorney Melanie Little. And they said, oh, you think you're doing a stream during the day? Kim, who do you think you are? We run this daytime shit. I said, whoa. Can I get around the 10:30 slot? They said, this time we'll give you a pass. Next time you have to put it in front of the committee. And we don't accept ever again. This is your shot, bitch. Make it count. Okay. All right. So we're the middle slot. And then guess what's happening? At noontime, our queen, the queen of all queens, Attorney Melanie Little, is going to be live. She's doing something with the Ryder Cup. So I was like, I'll be a master today. Look at this. I got a master on. I got this from the TikTok shop. I think I paid $9 for it. Was I at the Masters? Was I in Augusta? No. But my sweatshirt would say otherwise. Grab your Diet Cokes, get your shit together. And we're about to have a medical stream, okay? And I'm not talking about urine. I am not talking about a powerful stream to check your prostate if you're a male. Like, let's do a stream check. No, we're medical. And we are calling out all the things that we see in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case that has actually blown our fucking minds in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And what is happening here, right? Like what? My eye twitched when her bail was revoked. And for what? For what reasons? For a dangerousness. No, lies. And it felt like this, guys. And we know it did. We know it felt real close to.
Well, what happens when I spread my load out, when I lay on my bed like this?
Yeah. The judge, who looks eerily similar to Judge Beverly Cannoni, was spreading her load out all over the place. No one appreciated. Also, speaking of spreading loads out, do you see this? I have blue hands. It looks like Mr. Nurse Kim said, hey, did you do something? Did a Smurf spread his load out like that, right? Looks like I was given a couple of HJs, boop, 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 to a Smurf. Illegal. No. One of my daughters she likes a blue highlight. So I said, yeah, queen. All right. Express yourself via hair color, not drugs and alcohol. Okay. Do you artistic princess. So I was doing a little zoop zoop with that yesterday. I didn't realize that even through the gloves, I was going to be attacked. And my press-on nails, my Kiss press-on nails, non-sponsored, did not stay through. Okay. They couldn't match it. The energy was there. These were all blue underneath. I was like, oh. So I'm going to have to redo those today because I love a Kiss press-on nail. Okay. Also, I did want to show you this before we get going. Oh, save the Smurfs. Okay. Yes. We're not sexing Smurfs. We're saving them. And then there was one other funny thing that I thought you guys would get a kick out of. I'm going to pull it up right now. And it was me. It was me on Court TV on last Monday. And it was hilarious. I was on right after the Karen Reed civil trial. And we are going to laugh. We're going to chuckle. We're going to, hey. And also a troll on Twitter told me, which was the funniest shit. They were like, God, she couldn't even comb her hair. And I was like, oh, I didn't think it looked that bad. But that's funny. Keep that energy. If you want to hit me with some funny jabs, I am all about that life. Now do content. Is this it? Yes. Will I find you? Yep, here you live. Okay. I'm going to press on it. And then I've just got to, yes. No, that's incorrect. Oh, I'm lost. How am I lost in my own channel? Damn it. Your channel. Sorry, guys. I'm not a daytime performer. I'm a daytime performer usually, like work-wise, but not doing this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share. Sharing is caring. Is this it? Yes, this is it. Share that screen. Share it. Okay. Nurse Kim YouTube. Boom. Right? And then we're going to click on this. Oh, wait a minute. StreamYard. Share it. I'm there. Perfect. Okay, ready, babes? Watch this. On your mark, get set.
Did you threaten him? Absolutely not. Lucky, the snowplow driver. Let's get to our last question in our investigation for this hour. And that is, did Karen Reed cause the O'Keefe's emotional distress? Was it her reckless behavior that caused it? Let's bring in our experts. Longtime Massachusetts attorney Richard Grundy is still with us. And joining our conversation, Kim Whalen. She's also known as Nurse Kim on the TikTok and the YouTube. All right, Kim, what's your take? Did Karen Reed, through her behavior, cause the emotional stress to the O'Keefes? That's what's alleged in the civil complaint.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do not believe that Karen Reed did cause the emotional distress and, negligent emotional distress to the O'Keefe family. Her actions were that of a girlfriend who has gone through now 2 trials and has been acquitted in the death of Officer John O'Keefe. I believe that she suffered emotional distress, and I do believe that the O'Keefe family did suffer emotional distress and continue to as they grieve the loss of Officer John O'Keefe. However, I do not believe she was responsible for that in any way, shape, or form due to the fact she was going through everything in real time in this tragic event, just the same as the O'Keefe family were, and I do not believe she is responsible for their emotional distress in this matter.
Richard, no matter what side you are on this, the O'Keefe family went through the ringer. And did Karen Reed, is she responsible?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. There's no question that there was emotional distress here. You have to be a robot not to experience that in any of these people's situation. So the easiest way there is to focus on, if she, in fact, knowingly caused the death of John and then ventured out into this story. That would be the most direct proof that she is the proximate cause for their distress or a part of it. But again, a jury, as this is presently charged, a jury could find that she was drunk. She said to her father, which we know previously, I think I hit something. I don't know what it was. So she's not assured that she hit him. Perhaps she didn't hit him, but in a drunken tirade, whatever, she goes into this rampage where she decides she's going to defend herself before the accusations come down. And I think, again, if we see these 700 text messages from Turtle Boy, the content of those may change the tide, may make things look differently. But it doesn't, the jury's not going to have to find that she, in fact, hit him and caused his death to cause that emotional stress if there was an effort on her part to put something over on this family that she knew not to be true.
Kim, if you believe that the O'Keefes did suffer emotional stress and it wasn't Karen that caused it, who did?
Well, I believe that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and that the Norfolk DA's office and Mass State Police have really put on a case that at best was negligent and at worst was potentially nefarious toward Karen Reed. So if anyone is to blame, perhaps I would look at the agencies that prosecuted this case not once, but twice, and in which they came up with not guilty verdicts and, that Karen Reed has been acquitted of these charges. I know that the preponderance of evidence is different in a civil case, but I don't see how they get there.
Richard, let's say that the jury believes that, yes, okay, Karen went out and she told her story. There's nothing wrong with that. Did she reasonably know that this would take off to the point where it did? And would it be her responsibility to stop it?
Good questions, and those would be decisions for the jury. I would think that, let's say she does not have a legal responsibility to stop it, but it shows that intent to allow the emotional distress to continue on the family. So I wouldn't say she has a legal responsibility to stop it, but it's something that a jury could take into consideration if they feel, again, that she's doing this knowing it to be false and seeing day to day through 2 trials the family suffer through this. I mean, I think for me, the trigger point on this one is the 14-year-old girl and the circumstances where she's being woken up in the middle of the night This is a girl who Karen Reed knew lost both parents at an age where she comprehended that she had lost both parents, being told by a drunken woman in her room at 4 o'clock in the morning that her uncle, who had taken on the father figure, is now gone. That's some infliction of emotional distress if it's being done intentionally, carelessly, or recklessly.
Yeah, and that will be up to, ultimately, if it gets that far, a jury.
Okay. So, I'm going to remove that. Okay. Hi, Kevy Kev 781. I liked your dancing last night. Okay, so that was wild. Now, before you guys crucify, and I understand because I get it, Mr. Grundy was wild in some of those answers, but he's a former DA, a Norfolk County DA. And I like him most of the time. This was wild, a little bit out of character because I have seen him on with Vinny and in the think tank. And like he's been on and he's gone up against Kevin Linehan. He has gone up against John DePietro. And typically for everything criminal with Karen, he was like, And again, he had this role before like DA Morrissey. Oh, so I like him, generally speaking. And he is very, very good on the Sandra Birchmore case. And I asked him, actually, I sent him a little email. I sent him a little do. And I go, hi, Attorney Grundy. Just Kim, I was wondering if you would ever consider coming on my channel to talk about, Sandra Birchmore, Karen Reed. He might have different opinions than us, but the man had the job. Okay. And he is 100% in favor of like transparency with the departments of Massachusetts State Police, with the Norfolk DA's office. Like he was scratching his head up and saying, I do not know how Karen Reed's charges, first of all, got increased. And second of all, that when the second trial came around, he was like a little bit baffled that Hank Brennan would still continue to go forward with murder 2. So I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt. I would love to give him an opportunity to talk all about Sandra Birchmore because say her name, say it. And I think that we could have common ground. I think that he's not really a civil attorney. And I don't know because there's very different views from attorney, like, and who the fuck am I? I'm a Kim. So I don't understand how he's saying like if it was negligent or if there was intent for Karen to cause distress to the niece, because that's his trigger point. It is not, he doesn't believe, I don't think, that anyone else would have a case, but Kaylee potentially, which I think that there needs to be, he could explain that better instead of like a 4-minute clip. And I want to give him that opportunity. And again, more voices, more lawyers, more everything, more cowbell at all times. And we, babes, know how to argue back. We can argue eloquently. We can argue it in a way that's like, hey, this is what I've learned from whom? Mr. Betterow, Attorney Yannetti, Alan Jackson, all of the attorneys and everything that we've learned along the way, we can say, hey, can you explain this to us? And I'm sure that he would, and he would be happy to, because he's not a dick ever. That was like a lot of what he said, but if he broke it down for us of where he was coming from with that, I would like to hear it. Also, why did they play? Somebody posted, because I put that little clip on my shorts or videos or something. And someone was like, why did they keep playing that video twice of Karen scratching her face? Ew. Like, I didn't notice it, but like, you didn't have any more clips from court on Monday? Stop it. Stop it, you fuck in AV, audio visual fucker. Who did that? I thought it was rude. And somebody commented, why did he say TikTok and YouTube like that? I don't know. But it was wild. I might have to put it in the intro. Nurse Kim on TikTok and the YouTube. Okay, I'm losing it. All right. Then we say, Lori Baloo says, I think they really think that people don't like her, which is wrong. Yeah, like Court TV is on their own island, in my opinion. They really believe what they believe. And I get lost in the sauce sometimes with them. And I'm like, why are you asking this? Now, okay, insider track. When you get asked to go on Court TV, they will send you like general topics. They don't give you the exact questions though, right? Or they don't say what they're going to ask you because it's a little bit of sparring. So when I got the section that I was going to be in, I was like, wait a minute. They start playing the intro of this segment, the D slot. I was in the last one. And it's like, it's Aiden, it's Turtle Boy. And I'm like, can you stop? Ew, what? This was not, what the fuck? I'm like, what are you doing? And why is this being played? Because he said something about Lucky and then he didn't even ask that question. So it's very weird. It seems like there is an undertone at all times of like Karen bad, Aiden bad. And all of us or any of us that may support that, like that we don't know what we're doing. Well, I hope that in my response, although not perfect, why? Because I'm just a Kim. I try to slap it. Do you know what I mean? I try to make it slap sometimes and say like, oh, who do you think is responsible? I think the Commonwealth is, bitch. I think the Mass State Police are responsible for the, infliction of stress on the O'Keefe family and making them go through 2 trials when you know damn right well there was not anything, in my opinion, that correlated Karen Reed striking Officer John O'Keefe with a vehicle or Officer John O'Keefe being struck by a vehicle. You did this times 2, babes, and 2 juries said Karen didn't do it either. So cut the shit and lick the knife. Thank you, Cheech. Okay. All right. We're moving. I want to say Mama Llama Texas says, I quit watching Court TV when they switched to True, I think it's True TV for a while, then came back. They've been shit ever since they came back. And, and I like Vinny. I can't help it. I know that, guys, I like who I like. And it is what it is. I like Vinny Politan. He gets it. I don't care if he says what he has to say or what his deal is, but he has really come around. And I think that he does what he can in a political way and tries to be fair to all sides when I am biased, because I believe after seeing facts and evidence in 2 trials and pre-trials, I firmly believe what I believe. So you're putting me on there as a Karen Reed quote expert. Idiot. But I think that he 100% after seeing specifically trial 2 came around and was like, this was all a fucking dream, a pipe dream. Please, a requiem for a dream. Okay, what are we doing? He had no idea. He's out there. He's got his fucking ties on. People are alleging that he's like, a hidden plant. The anti-Karen Reeds are attacking him because he said, I look at all the love and support out here. Like, I mean, he got it. He got it very bad from specific sides as well. So I like Vinny and I always will. Opposite of treasure, says none of your business. Okay. And Crazy Cat Lady said, I'm thankful for Court TV because that's where I first saw Nurse Kim. Crazy Cat Lady, for real? Oh my gosh. That is so crazy. Have you seen me? Has anyone else saw me on Court TV and then came to my house? Because I never I figured that nobody really sees it, but that is so awesome. And I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Oh, somebody's a mod for Vinny. Oh, I've got very high important people here. Wow. Ashley Bouchard is a mod for Vinny. He's the man. Thank you, Ashley. And Mazel. That's pretty cool. Okay. So, oh gosh, and Kippy Hippie, you saw me on Court TV first too? Shut up. Oh wow. Well, hey, shit, you learned something new. All right, lovies, let's go. So that is it. I just wanted to, touch base with you, show you that because it's so funny. And that camera angle was a little bit egregious. And the hair, yes, I combed it, but also bigger the hair, the closer to God. So, okay. Now, we have things that we're going to go into, and this is Kelsey Fitzsimmons, serious business. I haven't had an opportunity to really go over with everyone, like with all of you, to say, we know the basics of the case. I am going to give just a brief overview for any of our lovies who do not know the basics before I go into the bail revocation heard round the world, the judge who cosplays as Judge Beverly Cannoni, and what there is medical documents that were released like publicly by, I think, Timothy Bradle, or at least not publicly. They were given to the court and they were not impounded, so we can look at them. And this will show why, to me, this was a miscarriage of justice to release her under the conditions in which she was, and then to revoke her on dangerousness when you see that the probation officers, the probation department, which is in alignment with the courts and, on the prosecution side, they said, no mas, no thank you, nope, oops, wrong answer. That's what they said. They said, she can't do this. We can modify it. And the judge said, no, not in my courtroom. And she was very emotionally charged with it as well, in my opinion. And I don't like that because I don't want to see your emotions from the bench. I need you to be like a rock. I couldn't be a judge. Why? Woohoo! I got all the feelings. I'm feeling all the feelings for all of us. But when I see a judge and I hear it in her voice, and she makes a decision that if you look at it objectively, now, like, this isn't biased because I don't know Kelsey. I don't have like this. I don't have all of the feelings that I have for 2.5 years of going over everything with Karen. I don't have all of the emotional heartstrings pulled on it. Do I feel terribly? Absolutely. But I can still see the forest for the trees. So you can't say oh, Kim, you're too fucking biased. Nope. Something's going on here. Something isn't right. And it needs to be called out by as many of us and as we can. Because that's important. When we raise our voices for others and when we're raising our voice to matters that we see and don't just look and say, fuck it, someone else will talk about it. Nope, I will. We will. Let's go. Okay. So I just want to read a little article, lovies. This is first. This came out from masslive.com. It's North Andover officer was shot by colleague to stay in jail over alcohol testing issue. And this goes through all the background too. So that's why I want to read this article specifically. A North Andover police officer accused of should I share this? I should probably share this. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. Sorry, loves. Bear with me. Add to stage. Okay, there we go. I'm going to read this. Okay. A North Andover police officer accused of pointing a gun at a fellow officer serving her a restraining order taken out by her fiance will stay in jail after a judge denied a request from her lawyers to reconsider the order to detain her. Lawyers for Kelsey Fitzsimmons, 28 years old. She was just born. Said her injuries from being shot in the chest by the other officer made it difficult for her to complete court-ordered testing for alcohol on a scram device. Fitzsimmons could complete the testing, but not without severe pain, her lawyers said at a hearing last week. But Superior Court Judge Kathleen McCarthy-Neiman determined Fitzsimmons was too dangerous to be released absent the testing she ordered. As a result, McCarthy Neiman vacated her earlier order granting Fitzsimmons release on conditions, sending her back to jail over the objection of her lawyers. Clutch. Oh. Pearl's on, sorry. Fitzsimmons' failure to transparently provide information related to her ability and willingness to abide by the conditions imposed is a manipulation of this court's efforts to create conditions that would allow her to avoid remaining in jail and ensure the safety of the community, McCarthy Neiman wrote. The condition of remaining alcohol-free was among the most critical for Fitzsimmons' release, prosecutors presented evidence that she had a history of aggressive behavior while intoxicated, the order reads. In their motion for reconsideration, Fitzsimmons' lawyer laid out a possible alternative means of testing. She could undergo random urine testing at a facility in Lawrence. Probably Lawrence General Hospital, or I was thinking Quest could go out, but neither here nor there. The court can accomplish its goals with this alternative rather than incarceration and without causing Ms. Fitzsimmons undue pain, the motion read. But McCarthy Neiman disagreed, writing that minimizing the number of times Fitzsimmons had to leave her mother's home, where she would be under house arrest, was a critical factor in imposing conditions. Oh, okay, so you say going to have her pee is like a fun trip, or is something that is going to screw up her house confinement? Fuck right off. Stop it. Using the Scram device would allow Fitzsimmons to test for alcohol without leaving the house, she noted. She also noted that Fitzsimmons' lawyers only raised the concern with the Scram testing 3 days after her release, despite several opportunities to do so prior. McCarthy Neiman was not further swayed by the supplemental filing from Fitzsimmons' lawyers, which included a letter from Dr. Jonathan Parks, a surgeon who operated on Fitzsimmons. I'm sorry. You were not moved by a supplemental letter from a fucking surgeon after a 28-year-old was shot in the chest? I can't. Attorney Tim Bradel, who represents Fitzsimmons, did not return request for comment Wednesday morning. At the hearing last week, McCarthy Neiman sent Fitzsimmons back to jail. He indicated he may appeal her ruling to the Supreme Judicial Court. No such appeal appeared or had been filed as of Wednesday morning. On June 30th, now this is the backstory, loveys. On June 30th, North Andover police officers arrived at Fitzsimmons' home to serve her with a restraining order obtained earlier that day by her fiancé. In an affidavit, Fitzsimmons' fiancé said that she had assaulted him over the weekend and that he had feared for the life of their infant son. A hearing on the restraining order is slated later this month, which it's not. It got moved to October 5th. While Fitzsimmons was packing up clothes for her son, police say, she reached for a gun and attempted to fire it at one of the responding officers. She was shot once in the chest by the officer and taken to Massachusetts General Hospital, Mass General, where she remained for more than a month. 57 days, actually. In March, not too long after the birth of her son, Fitzsimmons was involuntarily committed to Lawrence General Hospital for 12 hours after police and EMTs were called to the couple's home. Fitzsimmons was emotional, crying, and seeking assistance, according to court filings. In a statement released by Bradel, Fitzsimmons said she was suffering from postpartum depression and denied ever pointing a gun at the fellow officer. Instead, she said she attempted suicide because she was distraught by the thought of being separated from her son. When she was released last week, Fitzsimmons, flanked by her lawyer, simply said, "The truth will come out." Okay. Now that's a lot, loveys. Like, that's a lot to take in. It's October 7th. You're absolutely right, Tisha. I'm sorry. October 7th, because October 5th is Sunday, and that's a Sunday service for Mr. Betterow. I put it in my calendar, so that's why I screwed up. October 7th will be a Tuesday. So let's hope that that is correct. Now, that's the backstory. So on June 30th, we know that all of this occurred. Kelsey ends up, she says that she pointed the gun at herself. The officer ends up shooting her one time in the chest. She goes to Mass General for 57 days. Now, let me tell you something, babes. Let me get bigger. How am I get bigger? Okay. We know that when you have a baby, when I went to Lowell General Hospital and had both of my daughters, I was like not kicked out, but like I left in 48 hours, 2 days. And, you know, it's not like the olden days. Back in the olden days, if you had your tonsils out, they would keep you in the hospital for 5 days for you to rest and recover. And now you are discharged immediately, as soon as possible. So for me, hearing that a 28-year-old female who was shot in the chest stayed almost 2 months, almost 60 days at the most premier hospital in America. Okay, Mass General is that bitch. Yeah, I said it. That and Brigham and Women's is whatever. But I'm just saying, for her to be taking up a bed on a floor, there was no place to put her. She needed to be there. If they could have sent her to jail, they would have. They would have sent her to jail 5 days later. And I'm sure that at that 57-day mark that she still wasn't, I'm sure that it might have actually still been a premature discharge. But that was when she was clinically stable enough at some point for her to get the fuck out and go to jail. So then she goes to jail, still healing from a gunshot wound. Oh, never mind the mental anguish that you were in. You have not seen your baby. All of this happened at your home. You were shot by an officer that you know and worked with. You are suffering from postpartum depression, anxiety, baby blues. Not baby blues, because it was actually a postpartum depression. And you think, for me, my heart breaks. I'm just thinking about everybody impacted. That officer that shot her, what was going through his brain? And now to see that this DA's office, Essex County, and this judge are saying they're being manipulated by Tim Bradel and by the defense team by saying she could not complete this specific task. There is more than meets the eye to this, babes, because this is not abnormal. If you have worked in a court system, if you have worked in a hospital, if you know anything about anything, Tim Bradel did not know that it would be difficult for Kelsey to complete that task. He did not know until she was released. She wasn't doing scram fucking testing in jail. So you don't know what you don't know until you get out. Then you know damn right well she gets home, right? She's home and she's finally like sleeping at home at her parents' house to be watched 24 hours a day. And she is trying to do everything that she can to adhere, in my head, right? This is what's happening. She's trying to adhere to what is asked of her, and it's killing, motherfucker, every time she breathes. She probably hadn't done her incentive spirometer since she was out of the hospital. She wasn't getting the medical care while she is at Framingham. So fuck off. And yes, she did it for that 3 days, trying to abide by these rules because she knew that was what was needed. But can you imagine that she sat there and when the probation office was like, I totally agree with you. She probably went into that hearing on the 11th and said to herself, everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay, because probation is like an extension of the prosecution. So she is thinking to herself, they agree with me. They understand why I'm having a hard time accommodating this. And in that very same hearing, she is thrown in jail. Fucked. There is fuckery afoot in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, per usual. So now that we know that backstory, good morning. Good morning, Carrie. Hi, Dr. Carrie. Oh, and Kylie says, I told you this one gets me so fired up. I know, Kylie. I hear you, babe. I'm right here with you, Smurf hands, fingering Smurfs and all. Okay, I love you. And it is absolutely, D. Johns, no compassion, a complete lack of compassion and empathy for a human. That this isn't an excuse like, oh, her dog ate her homework. Like, no, my lung capacity is unable to reach the limits here. And to offer an alternative to the courts is not their job. The defense doesn't need to do that. Probation doesn't need to do that. But they did it because I'm sure that no one in their right mind believed that she would be revoked when everyone was on the same page. Ugh, kills me. All right, I am going to switch, and we are going to go now to I'm pulling up a recording because this enraged me. And this is the recording of the judge on that. Oh, how do I pull this up? Make it big. All right, loveys. I'm going to share this tab. Oh, it's not big. Oh, why is it not bigger? Hold on, loveys. Play that. No, back to tab. Loveys, can you hear this? I'm so sorry, but my StreamYard is saying that I lost connection. Can you hear it? Can you hear the judge and Tim Bradle? Do. No, you can't. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, the connection was lost. All right, I'm going to stop sharing it. And I thank God that I didn't play that forever. Now I'm going to try to share it again. My bad. Share. Okay, and Jess Machado was the one who played this for us.
Oh. And so she passes them in great pain. So she's had difficulty in every single one, equated, it's in the affidavit. So she has difficulty on every single one. So that's different than passing the test. So she's experiencing difficulty all the way through. But the one that she was unable to was 9/9/25 at 3:09 p.m. I guess.
And was that a required test that she was to do?
Yes,
And she was unable to perform it?
correct.
Okay, was she unable to perform it?
No.
What happened?
No. So this, since she can release.
Yes, we're in office.
Do you solemnly swear you will make true answers to such questions that may be put to you by the
So this was 9/11, right, guys? So this is the day before. It's Thursday, September 11th. All right, pray for us. Okay. But it was the 9th. So this was the day after she is released. Okay. And this is when she started to have like the trouble with it.
Quarter upon his direction, so help you God.
I do. Or if I could just pass this up, this is information pertaining to all of our screen.
And is that being submitted, Attorney Bradle, as an exhibit for the purposes of this hearing?
Judge, I'd be more than happy to do that.
It's not more than happy to. You're either doing it or not.
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead, Nora.
Okay, so
it just says that she passed the test, which is not an issue. The issue is that she's in extreme pain while doing it.
But she already did it.
Whether she passes it.
Okay, so there's one Officer January that says incomplete at 9/10/25 at 3:09 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what does that mean?
Yeah. So what it means is there's a scheduled test that's programmed daily for her to be alerted and to initiate a test, and that happens. And so initially she answers the alert and attempts to take the test, but is unable to complete the test. And based on my information, my conversations with Elmo is that is when she has difficulty either blowing as hard or as long, or a combination of both, into the machine to complete the test. So what happens after that is there are additional attempts to complete the test, which she tries, and then ultimately on that particular day, she successfully completes and passes the test on September 10th at 3:50 p.m.
Okay, what I have in front of me is an incomplete test at 9/10/25 at 3:09 p.m.
That's correct. And then if you just look
And then
right
it says
above that,
passed at 9/10/25 at 9:30 a.m.
okay, so you're looking, I'm referring to this the second document, it's multiple pages.
I think if you just go up instead of the one above it,
Okay.
incomplete is the.
So it's 3:09, it's incomplete, and then at 3:50 she passed.
That's correct.
So that's a period of 40 minutes.
Fuck off. 40 minutes. So now let's go back, Loveys, because this is getting wild. I was wondering, and thank gosh that we're re-listening to this together. I was thinking to myself, with the scram, were they asking her to do it multiple times a day? Do you know how, like, if you get a breathalyzer in your car and let's say every time that you turn on your vehicle, you have to blow into the breathalyzer? I was wondering if this was like, it could send it to you at any time and you could get 4 in one day, 1 in one day. But this is just a daily testing, which by the by, who the fuck is drinking at 9 a.m.? Okay, just saying. Well, never mind. But of course, there are people that are drinking at 9 a.m. But for her to do it at 3:10, she tried it at 3:10 and it was incomplete, but she gets it done 40 minutes later. She's trying, doing everything that she can. And what I want you to think about is that if you have ever gone to the hospital and you see those little machines that they give like most patients, anyone that is hospitalized typically gets an incentive spirometer. But if you have pneumonia, if you have, let's say, a collapsed lung, broken ribs, whatever it is, anything that is respiratory related, we are going to have you use your incentive spirometer because we want you to be at a specific lung capacity and we want you to keep exercising those. And what we do as nurses is we say, hey, babes, I want you to do this every hour. Every hour, we're trying to expand those lungs and we are trying to get we are trying to get you to the max capacity so that you don't have complications from either surgical. Also, if you've had any surgery, always you get your incentive spirometer because you went under anesthesia. So anywho, it's so important, but she wasn't receiving any of this medical, this specific medical care while you're at Framingham. She had been discharged from Mass General Hospital, and she was and she's chilling over at Framingham, whatever it is, incarceration place. It's the only Framingham is the only women's prison in Massachusetts. So that was a huge concern. And this judge, you can tell now, this is right out the gate. She's being an actual walking fucking asshole. And probation is trying to talk her off the ledge. Kelly Applegate, I see you. You have the most recent update from 9/25. I don't think I've seen that. What is today? The 29th? No, I have not seen that. I don't think so. Do you mind sending it to my email? legalnursekim@gmail.com. Thank you. Press play.
That's correct. And you'll see the same thing.
So the other one, which is
September 9th, yes.
September 9th.
She's in Chicopee. Who the fuck is in what is Chicopee? I thought that Framingham was our own. Since what is this? I didn't even know Chicopee was an option. I got to tell you something, and this is personal. Don't tell anybody. The 1,600 of you, do not say it to another soul. One of my family members had to go to Framingham, okay? And it was like so crazy because hers was for a DWI. And can you imagine having to do 30 or 60 days in jail and you're with like murderers, like you were with schmurderers. And it was just where they housed everyone. I didn't realize that we had Chicopee. I'll have to look that up. My bad. Chicopee is the biggest one. Shut up. It is the biggest. Oh my God. All right. Get your jail shit right, Kim. My bad. Thank you for correcting me, Lovey.
Yeah, at 3 o'clock.
The
test is initially incomplete.
At 3:09, and then it's complete at 4:21.
4:20, 4:21.
So there were 2 times that she had an incomplete test. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Incomplete.
And what's the procedure of the probation department when somebody who has a condition of release to have scram and to pass the scram test in a very serious case if they're incomplete? And I have 2 incomplete tests, and I was not made aware of either one of them.
Oh.
So my first job when we get an incomplete test is to gather more information. And so, which is what we do. And so in response to the incomplete test, we call Elmo, we gather the information, which is she answered the alert to take the test as scheduled. Unfortunately, she was unable to complete the test because she was unable to blow as long or as hard as needed to complete the test. So ultimately, at 4:20, she completes the scheduled test. There may be additional attempts in between. But ultimately, she completes the test.
So that's for a period of an hour and 20 minutes.
That's correct. Now, in conjunction to the hour and 20 minutes, we also know that, and I observed it firsthand, that whatever the injuries are, which I don't know, and actually doesn't really matter to me, but when I was doing the installation process and observed what was genuine pain, like genuine pain. So
any objection to any of the terms used by the probation officer? Okay.
So we have all that information. We don't deem that non-compliant. She's attempting to take the test, and she ultimately passes the test at 4:20. So with all of the information, that's not non-compliant. That's compliance, and with her obstacles.
I'm getting confused. What do you mean compliant? As far as when she was initially
that's compliant with scram testing. She was ordered
when she initially was started to be monitored by scram, and you went through the preparations. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So when something is incomplete, you typically bring it to the attention of the court.
No, that's not what we do. So if something is incomplete, as in this case, at 3 on September 9th, at 3:09, we have an incomplete test.
Yep.
Which is a scheduling test.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have that's simply not the non-compliance. If she had missed the test, that would generate additional responses from Elmo, and then that would determine whether or not there's actual non-compliance. If someone missed a test because they were down in the basement doing laundry, and then came up and realized that they had a test, took an on-demand test 20 minutes later.
Yes.
And passed the test.
Yes.
Which means there's no alcohol in the system. We don't deem that as non-compliant. That's compliance.
I'm sorry. Okay, so again, Loveys, you're hearing this probation, whose probation are usually not hanging out or trying to, they're not working for the defense here. They're not thinking to themselves, I'd like to help this person. They're there to do their jobs, and they're there to do their jobs well and appropriately. And their caseloads are huge. And this guy is saying, this is not compliance. She did it. We don't consider this a missed test. She did it 20 minutes later. There would have been additional prompts. Are you getting this? And the judge, like Becky RN says, this judge is purposefully not understanding. Feels that way.
The test, and additional notifications were made by the electronic monitoring office regarding the missed test, and she failed to respond, or she failed to take an alert for another on-demand test. Now that's non-compliance.
Yep.
And we would initiate a pretrial violation notice and notify the district attorney's office. This particular case, I don't deem non-compliance because she's complying with the scheduled program. I'm aware of pain based on my observations from the installation process. So as long as she's attempting to take the test, continues to attempt to take the test, and then ultimately takes the test, that's not non-compliance. That's someone that's,
well, that's your position. That's non-compliant.
Well,
it's really up to the court to decide whether somebody's compliant or not.
Oh.
What you're saying is those situations you described is what you deem as appropriate to bring before the court.
It would. So I guess it would never be brought to court by way of a pretrial violation for an incomplete test with the information that I've talked
received.
about. So no, an incomplete test does not initiate a pretrial violation from our end, because there are many reasons for a test to be incomplete. And there are circumstances where someone misses a test and then takes an on-demand test. That's not intentional non-compliance. And the goal is to test to ensure that the person's sober, and that's we don't deem that non-compliance. We never have, and we never would in this case, initiate a pretrial violation proceeding based on an incomplete test that was subsequently passed. And so the schedule for her to be tested is something that we discussed. It wasn't ordered by the court. The court ordered someone to be alcohol free.
What do you mean we discussed? So she knows when she's going to be tested?
With Ms. Fitzsimmons. I discussed with the defense counsel about creating a testing schedule, because it's more practical to have a schedule in place. There was no schedule that was ordered by the court. There's no frequency of testing that was ordered by the court.
It was
4 times a day, 3 times a day. None of that was ordered. She was ordered.
It was random screens. Excuse me, Ms. Officer January. It was random screens. Now you're telling me she's on a schedule to get tested? Is that what you're telling me?
We created a schedule, as we always do.
Okay.
As we always do. Not in this particular case. We always do.
It was random screens that were ordered.
Judge, I don't have that. I don't have random screens anywhere in my materials, for the record.
Okay.
I don't know nothing about random screens.
Okay.
Judge, just so I can clarify that. When we get an order, someone's placed on pretrial conditions that include remain alcohol-free with scram testing, we always default to creating a testing schedule.
I love that.
And up to 4 times a day. So we'll schedule one for the morning, we'll schedule one for the mid-afternoon, we'll schedule one for the evening, and if we have to, we'll schedule one for later at night. And that's to ensure that sobriety throughout the day. In this particular case, we created a schedule for her to be tested at 9:30, 3 o'clock, and then at 8 o'clock.
9.
The only way we would not enter a schedule is if the court specifically said, I want the test to be done randomly. I don't want her to know when the test is coming. And the test to be done randomly. And at that point in time, we would take her off a schedule, and then we would notify Elmo to be tested 4 times a day at random.
Okay.
So if that's done on this case and stuff.
So this enraged me as well, Loveys, when you're hearing the probation officer say, we're doing exactly what policy and protocol is and what your order was. And she goes, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I ordered for this to be random testing. No, you didn't, babe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kathleen. Judge Kathleen, I'm going to need you to calm the fuck down and not pretend as though you're the one who gave this order. And then she's disrespectful to the probation officer and treating him like he's a piece of garbage. And that how dare he work with a defendant and the defense team to make a schedule for up to 4 times a day testing. Wow. Wow.
On every case.
Okay. Attorney Bridle, do you have anything else to submit?
Judge, I would just offer, I respect and I heard your Honor's take on the probation email, but for the record, I would move that into evidence as well. And I just want to also.
Commonwealth, do you have a position as to the admission of the email?
Well, I think we just heard with the email.
All right, so the email is excluded. Anything else, Attorney
No,
Bridle?
my objection, Your Honor.
Sure.
And Judge, I just want to state that on the pretrial conditions of release, that says comply with remote alcohol breath testing.
Okay. I don't know if that's what was ordered. I'm going to go back and listen to FTR.
With breath testing.
I didn't tell the court from where I sit, I didn't remember any use.
I mean, you may very well be right, but I'm going to go listen.
Judge, I just want to clarify something. My email, and I know it's important that the court knows, I didn't make a recommendation that the scram condition be vacated. I never did that. I never suggested, it's all that email was.
Attorney, Officer January, nobody's asking you questions. Your testimony is complete. Are you asking to make a statement to the court?
If the court's under the belief that I recommended that condition be vacated or removed, then yeah.
I haven't said anything one way or the other, sir. We're here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's for the motion to vacate the scram device. So do you have anything else to submit, Attorney Bridle?
No.
Okay, Commonwealth, do you have anything?
No, I have no evidence to submit other than the arguments that I talked about, how important that the Commonwealth's belief is.
Oh, the Commonwealth has nothing else. Surprised? No, absolutely not. Officer January, just wanted to say thanks for trying here, because where this goes next, guys, if you have not heard this, is going to absolutely blow your mind. It is going to enrage you to a core of how could this have happened? And how could this be the result of a woman who did comply, but tardy with a very clear and present medical condition preventing her from being able to complete it like in a simple manner. She tried her best, she did it, and it caused pain.
In light of the court releasing the defendant, that testing be done.
Okay. Attorney Bridle, here, first of all, I do have a question. So, Ms. Fitzsimmons is able to do the scram, is that correct? Or is she not able to do it? I don't know. Is she not able to do it?
That depends on whether the court is willing to tolerate that the material represented in the
court is not tolerating anything.
Oh.
Okay, let's be clear. I'm not tolerating anything. The court is not tolerating anything.
Wow. And this is where I told you, Loveys, that I can feel it. Any of us who have like feelings of, if you walk on eggshells or, I don't know, it's like a trauma response of some sort, is you hearing her, this is the mask off, and it is, I am not tolerating anything. Really, ma'am? You are here to do justice. You are here to do what is right in the community for defendants, for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but you won't tolerate anything. Wow. And it only gets worse.
Fitzsimmons is a defendant. In lieu of incarceration, my order was that she submit to scram. If she cannot do that, I need to know that. Can she do that or not?
She can do it.
Okay.
Under the terms that are laid out in the affidavit.
So you're saying she can do it on her own terms?
With significant pain and dizziness and having to recover for several hours.
I understand what you're saying. It is certainly not the court's intention It's not the court's position to have Ms. Fitzsimmons in any pain at all, so I appreciate your argument. Do you have anything else to add?
I would suggest, Judge, that I think there's other ways to do this. If the court wishes to have her tested for lack of alcohol, that's completely fine with the defense, but just the means that's being employed is kind of a torture device for her.
Okay.
And so we object on due process grounds to that.
Oh, okay.
But
it is not this court's intention
I understand.
to torture Ms. Fitzsimmons at all. The court's goal is to make sure the community is safe and Officer Noonan is safe. So I hear you loud and clear.
And Officer Noonan is safe. And this is where I go to Funky Town. I am taken out. I spin out on the rings of Saturn. You're protecting the officer that shot her in the chest? That gave her a GSW? What? Stop it. And this was the word that she uses. And I'm like, no, listen, I'm not getting into like psychological shit here, guys. But for the judge to say the court is not here because Tim Bradle used torture, the word torture, this is what is going to be used against Kelsey. And he didn't mean it like that.
That the defense views Ms. Fitzsimmons having to do the scram as cruel and unusual and torture. Is that your position?
Well, that's an Eighth Amendment position. I suppose that can be put in there as well. But Judge, I think that, that there's probably other alternatives that she could do that I believe are out there. But I know that might step on the court's other order for house arrest, that you would have to go to a facility. I know there's like urine tests and other things like that. So
yes,
I know there's other possibilities out there that, again, she's not trying to use this to create a situation where she can go drink alcohol.
Okay.
It's not at all what this is about. So I just want to ask the court to consider any other alternatives that might not pose this type of an issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Attorney Gubitosi or Attorney Moriarty, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, I'm going to leave the bench for a few minutes. I'll break.
Court, all rise.
Oh.
Goes back a second, there's it.
Your Honor, we're back on the record with the Fitzsimmons matter.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So I have reviewed everything again that's been submitted to me.
Clutch your pearls.
And I will state for the record that Fitzsimmons has moved twice in a 3-day period to amend her conditions of release. On neither occasion has she submitted any medical evidence to support her claims. The imposition of conditions is the court's order after careful consideration of the evidence to fashion the least restrictive conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant and the safety of all other persons in the community pursuant to General Laws Chapter 276, Section 58A2B. Just days ago, the court concluded that the condition of remaining alcohol-free and submitting to SRAM monitoring was necessary to ensure the safety of the community. After a thorough review of all of the arguments and submissions by the Commonwealth and Fitzsimmons, that conclusion remains unchanged, regardless of Fitzsimmons' claimed physical limitations. Based on an affidavit submitted by Fitzsimmons' mother, the testimony of Assistant Chief Probation Officer Jeff January about his observations of Fitzsimmons' apparent pain during the scram installation, and the representations of Fitzsimmons' counsel that it would be cruel and unusual punishment and torture to continue to require Fitzsimmons to comply with the condition of being monitored by SCRAM, the court concludes that Fitzsimmons cannot abide by the condition of being monitored by SCRAM. Without this condition, which ensures that she does not consume any alcohol, the court cannot assure the safety of Officer Noonan and all other persons in the community. Accordingly, the court's prior order of release is vacated, and Fitzsimmons is ordered to be held without bail pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 276, Section 58A. And a written order will
May I
follow.
address the court?
That's the court's order. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, I object. I ask you to stay your order pending the SJC. And there are other alternatives Your Honor can accomplish.
Oh my God. Loveys. I broke. Did you hear Kelsey crying? And Tim, like you could hear the panic of him saying, Judge May, I'm requesting a stay. Like him trying to do everything that he could in his power to prevent this from her going back to prison, to jail. And he knew, I think that they knew as soon as she started to read that order that this was not going to go their way. And it wasn't going to go their way based on one human making choices. And as a judge, we need judges, no matter if they are what we want to hear or what it's not what we want to hear, we need them to have jurisprudence, and we need them to hold the line and to be our balancing, like you have to call balls and strikes. And this was not, it was anything but. Yesterday on Sunday service, Loveys, Mr. Betterow said to me, of course, I didn't want to hear what Judge Doolin said last week for Turtle Boy's case, but it was the right call. And of course, the Commonwealth needs their time to respond to an 88-page mega motion. And they have to have an opportunity to provide, whether it's the Attorney General or whoever else, to take place a case that is stateless. That was the right call. And we're hearing a woman that you were given all of the background information. You are very well aware that she has a gunshot wound to her chest, that she is actively healing, that will not be healed from many more months. And at 28 years old is also dealing with the trauma of being shot at by a colleague, of losing your baby, and you were sent and you had 3 days of freedom at your parents' house. And then you were taken back to jail because you were late, and you had you were late in providing a breathing test. Fuck you. And we don't want to use we don't want to do cruel and unusual punishment to Kelsey. We're not trying to do any of that. So she can fucking rot in jail, is what she said, is what the judge said. And that is why we need to have more eyes on this. This is fucked. It is so fucked that I can't, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around what happened in that courtroom that day. So this happens. You hear like the ending of this, the hair, the first 2 times I listened to it, guys, it still affects me greatly. But the hair on my arm stood right up. I said, oh my God, this is insane. And she did it with glee and with anger in her heart. And you can hear it. This is not somebody who got up and just had to make a ruling for the dangerousness or for the safety of the public. This was a specific slap in the face to defendant Kelsey Fitzsimmons and to Tim Bradel. It was a fuck you for trying to work with probation. Fuck you for trying to think that you had a say here because this is my house. And what I say goes. Oh, okay. Loveys, if you are moved by this and this does not feel fair to you, and we know that Tim Bradel is up against a one hell of a fight, and so is Kelsey. Britt Happens put a comment in my chat, and I pinned it to the top of my chat, and it is to Kelsey's Gives and Go. And she needs all of our help and our support. And if you can't give her $1, then if you could give her one prayer and try to send her positive energy as she is walking through this alone in jail. And I know that her family has rallied around her, and I know that we are here to wrap around her as well. But I can only imagine when you're suffering physically, you're physically injured, you're trying to heal. You're mentally injured, you're trying to heal. You're suffering postpartum, and you don't have access to your baby or your mommy to hug you. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. And I think that there needs to be more compassion in law, and there needs to be more compassion as people today. That's just my spiel. So, Okay, so back up out of here. Stop it, Kim. Now I'm going to keep sharing. I'm going to get out of there. Thank you, Jess, for posting this. It was incredible. Now that is good. Now here we go. I also wanted to bring up the medical piece. Where do you live? Here it is. Mikey posted this on September 15th. This was the supplemental finding, and it's from Mass General Hospital, the Trauma Center. I just want to read this to you, and so that we can just talk this through, babes, okay? Does this, or can you see it? No, you can't even see it. Make it bigger. Oh, can I make this bigger? Oh, I can't make it bigger. You're going to have to, does it look bigger there now, loveys? Well, just put the screen, do this, shoop, shoop on the screen, and hopefully that'll pull it up, but I'll read it to us. So this is from Jonathan Parks, doctor, which surgical, critical care, trauma, and acute care surgery associate medical director of Ellison 14. I see you. Do I have any Ellison 14 nurses in my chat? Love you. I love that floor. Okay. So it says September 15th, 2025, regarding Kelsey Fitzsimmons, her date of birth. To the honorable court, I was the trauma surgeon on call when Ms. Fitzsimmons was admitted to Mass Gen with multiple gunshot-related injuries. Her documented injuries included, but not limited to, gunshot wound to the right hemothorax with retained bullet fragments in the right upper back. I'm sorry, babes. Kelsey has fragments in her right upper back. I cannot express to you how critical this was. Number 2, moderate right hemothorax requiring a chest tube placement. Oh, you got a chest tube. You had a chest tube. That sucks. It hurts. Cut between intercostal 4 and 5. Put it in. 4, grade 4 hepatic trauma with active bleeding from the right hepatic lobe. That could have been death. Hepatic liver, loveys. Hepatic is your liver. 5, say it, Kim. Comminuted right posterior 12th rib fracture. Right anterior 11th rib fracture at the costochondral junction. Right anterior 11th rib fracture at the costochondral junction. Her treatment course included multiple procedures, including chest tube placement, percutaneous drainage of a hepatic collection, and ERCP with biliary stent placement. In my medical opinion, a fracture of the 12th rib can cause pain that may persist for several months after the injury. The severity and duration of the pain following a fracture vary, and it is difficult to predict how long symptoms will continue in any given patient. Additionally, retained bullet fragments can also cause chronic pain that can be exacerbated by movement, such as deep breathing. Please contact me with any additional questions or concerns. Now, take that in for 1 second. I would also say that, yes, the hemothorax has healed. It is healed. But once you've had your chest tube placement, that can hurt too. Where it was, that can be painful. It's not just the 11th, the commutated 11th rib fracture, 12th rib fracture and the 11th rib fracture. Thank you, Lovey. Oh, did you, honey? That's Mr. Nurse Kim. He brought me a fresh Diet Coke. So all of that can be happening, and that can heal. But what won't is those fragments I cannot express how bullet fragments in her, let me give it the specific verbiage. Multiple right fragments, bullet fragments in the right upper back. Bullet fragments in the right upper back. Those fragments won't be removed. They will not. They shall not. They are not. Because they would have when they were removing said bullet. They can't. You can't just go digging around. You know that it's there. Why? Imaging. Imaging has provided it. And that chronic pain she will live with for the rest of her natural life. And when you're trying to do 4-gram testing, and you have to get it out for like as long as, I don't know how many seconds it exactly is. We could look that up. Let me look it up because that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I'm thinking incentive spirometering. Okay. I'm thinking from a medical part of how your capacity of your lungs to be able to open, expand, and contract, right? Her ribs around expanding, contracting with that deep breathing. And then the fragments of a bullet that you were shot by a colleague that will remain in thy body until the end of time. What the fuck? Also, this wonderful physician, Jonathan Parks, he gives his phone number, and they always do. So he said, hey, if there are questions or concerns from the court, please reach out to me. I would love to provide it to you. But this is my letter of medical necessity. This is me providing the letter to the courts that says this is why I gave you it. And unfortunately, loveys, that was denied as well. What was the date of this report? This letter of medical necessity to the courts was written on September 15th, 2025. 4 days after she was remanded to custody. Because they provided it in their, Tim Bradel ended up providing this in order to try to get this supplemental information into the chart and into the court so that they would say, oh my gosh, we made a terrible decision. Nope. Oops. They didn't think that. What did they really think? Now let's go back. Okay. And we're going to see what they wrote because, they denied the request for reconsideration on the 16th. So the day before, they had asked for it, and this is how it was denied. Oh, JK. Oh, where'd it go? Hello? Oh, all right. So over here, guys, sorry, I want to read this to us just for a second. Order and a defendant's motion to reconsider imposition of custody and reinstatement of original terms of release with order for alternative alcohol testing. So this was all put in by Bradel. Says, I have another option. Please reconsider this. The defendant, Kelsey Fitzsimmons, stands indicted of 1 count of assault with dangerous weapon following 3 hearings and 2 weeks regarding conditions of release. Pursuant to Mass General Law, the case is now before the court on Fitzsimmons' motion to reconsider imposition of custody for reinstatement of original terms of release with an order of alternative alcohol testing. And there is nothing in the motion that was not known to Fitzsimmons and her counsel when this matter was last before the court on September 11th, 2025. There has been no change in circumstances or newly discovered information that would warrant revisiting the court's decision pursuant to General Law Code, ba-ba-da-beep-ba-ba. As explained below, Fitzsimmons' failure to transparently provide information related to her ability and willingness to abide by the conditions imposed despite 3 lengthy hearings is a manipulation of this court's efforts to fashion the least restrictive conditions of release that would both allow her to avoid incarceration and reasonably assure the safety of all other persons in the community as required by Section 58A. Thus, the motion is denied. This is a tragedy, loveys. It's a tragedy on so many levels. But to say that she manipulated the court and that there was no new information provided by counsel, which they did. They provided the letter that we just read from Jonathan Parks, a cardiothoracic surgeon in the ICU at Mass General Hospital, who said this is why. And no one cared. She didn't care to look at it. And in fact, Judge Kathleen decided to double down and say that Kelsey Fitzsimmons is the problem, and that there was a dangerousness to the community with her being released. It is a violation of her constitutional rights, in my opinion. It shows a negligence or a malfeasance from the bench. And now it's all hands on deck, because this is outrageous. And it is terrifying that this is happening in our backyards. And my heart goes out to Kelsey, and my heart goes out to her baby and her family right now. And there's a lot of familial, there's interpersonal things between her man, her fiance, and her. And all of us have our own shit in our own families. So I'm trying not to dig up things that are not helpful or relevant in this specific situation, because the judge really acted out of pocket. And that's why Kelsey needs our help. And I wanted to be there and say it. And I know that you guys want to be there to help her too. And I know that there is something that one of our loveys was saying that she was going to send me the 25th, what was happening on that court date, or whatever new motion there is. We'll discuss it either later on tonight or tomorrow, because Melanie Little is on. It's noontime and you've got to get over there. But I have, the spirit is moving me here, and it is telling me that we got to keep bringing it up, and we got to keep talking about it, and we have to have action. Because when we mobilize and when we are put into action, loveys, there is no one better. There is no group of individuals that can move mountains more and that can stand up for justice in a peaceful way as us. We are one of one. This community is unstoppable. So put our fucking big girl pants on, our full bottom panties on, and let's fucking ride for Kelsey. All right. I love your faces. I'm going to go through. I didn't even realize. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go through our super chats, but I love you. If you have to go, I peace be with you, and also with you. Mr. Betterow is coming with us on Sunday. He'll be here. Let's do our scheduling classes. 8 a.m. Sunday. I'll be there on time. Why? Because I'm making good choices. I'm going to try to get Mr. Grundy on our show sometime this week after work. And we will do a Talk Shit Tuesday and a Thickums Thursday, because we fucking said so. All right. Tisha, thank you so much for becoming a new YouTube member at Nurse Kim's house. Zach, for a Finbar, says, I heard someone was checking your record. Did they find the charge for assault of a Zach prostate? Nope. That's under seal. That's under seal too, but doesn't stop some people. Ho! Zach, I don't like you, but I do like your prostate. Have a great day, my love. And Betsy says, when I get the notification that you're live, I get so excited. Betsy, I get excited when I go live too. Guess what I listened to? What did I listen to right before I got on? I was jamming out to Many Men Wish Death Upon Me every time, because the haters are going to hate and the lovers are going to love. And I fucking love you. I like your rims. I mean, your rims. I love your frames, Betsy. We're frame sisters. Oh, that's what they could have called. That's what they tried to say. Karen. Okay. Gigi's ice cream truck filled with silver bracelets says, what is ducking wrong with these idiots? If I knew, Gigi, I'd be a millionaire, probably. And New Hampshire woman. Hi, New Hampshire woman who's been a member at my house for 5 months consensually. I love you. I love you. Stop it. You don't have to be here. 5 months. It's a relationship at this point. And if you need to break up with me, I hear you. I'm annoying. I'm a little, I get clingy. All right. Let a Rose by Bettero has been a member for 6 months. Let a Rose. You are the kindest and the prettiest. Nope. You are. Denied. You are. I give it right back to you. And I appreciate you, Let a Rose. Gigi's ice cream truck filled with silver bracelets also hits us with a fin bar and says, so ready to start distributing these well-earned silver bracelets. Clink, clink. Who's the first set? So many choices. Who is the first set? From my lips to God's ears, Tully. Did you hear me? Tully. Because of his connection to Turtle Boy's case and to Karen's case. Remember, he was the one who wanted Karen Reed's Lexus vehicle to go back to Canton and not to a state police barracks. Tully. And Joey Kane doling out 5 non-consensual Nurse Kim memberships like we are where? The Centerfold in Worcester. We are there. We are eating. We love the chicken wings, and there's a really good pesto. Amy Law, 1972, said she was pregnant too. Oh my gosh. Stop. Was she really? Oh, loveys. I'm going to have to go to church. Like literal church. If that is accurate. That's really sad. That's very sad. And Kelly Applegate says, Nurse Kim, my first live. I'm a proud cupcake, and your live about X this weekend brought me to you. I'll never stray. There's such a thing as a lovey cupcake. Yes, Kelly Applegate. There is something that we call when the cupcakes and the loveys combined, we become love cakes. And we bake love cakes because there's a lot of foul shit in this world. And I hope that you know that you're loved and welcomed here and everywhere. And, I need to talk to Mel. I'm going to probably send her. I'll text her later after she's off her stream and just see, because I think we could use like a girls' night. We could use maybe a sleepover, a little bit of a get together and say, just to talk some shit and talk with each other, because she is like a big sister that you are only like, I'm so lucky to have met in my life, and I appreciate her beyond words. And then she also like calms my tits, and she's like, hey, you good? You good? What are you worried about? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, fucking help me. And she's just, she's really cool, and I love her. I literally love her. I want to go to Cancun with Melanie Little. Take me away. And Fairy Raven says, is there anyone that could pin Kelsey's give and go, please? Yes, Lovey. I must have been like telepathically connected to you because I did that. Thank you so much for being here. And Gigi's ice cream tuck filled with silver bracelets says, this was not a fucking revocation hearing. Yeah. Everyone trying to unalive themselves ends up with a hole in their chest. $120,000 allotment for body cams, but they do not use them. GG. I'm going to write that down, because we need to know more about that. If they had the allotment for it, body cam, and that's North Andover. Oh God. And like, why are we not using that? Because it's definitely he said, she said with two officers that were colleagues. And like and his word is going to be taken, not only from like just because he's a man, it's because he's an officer. So they're going to take his word. And they were serving her a restraining order. Ugh. And Margaret Trary says, I have severe COPD and I couldn't blow into the tube. Margaret, thank you so much for being here, lovey. And I know with the COPD, do you do your inhalers? Do you do them as you're supposed to? Do them for me. And yeah, absolutely, you couldn't have done that. And that's why I know that the judge stated that they had multiple hearings about this, but at the end of the day, babes, okay, you had these hearings, but until she got the scram device when she was released from jail, how would she have known whether she was going to be able to do it or have trouble with it and struggle and have tests that come back as incomplete, and then her having to keep trying it, which is causing her more stress in her body, you know? Thank you so much, Lovey. And Annie from Southeast says, some women I heard are going to Shirley too. Oh, babe, I looked that up. So, okay, in 2022, there was a thing which like, oh my gosh, wow, Kim, pay attention. But there was, I guess that MCI Framingham had become dilapidated. It was dilapidated when I was visiting you know what I'm saying? It was dilapidated in the year of our Lord 2004 or 2003. And there was concerns, and that was the only place forever. But then they opened Chicopee, and I think there might be another one on the way. And it is appearing to me that MCI Framingham is in the works of being closed. Like it's going to be completely shut down. How crazy. All right. And then Bino says, love from Ireland as always. And I love you, Bino. I should take some because I'm gassy. And Britt Happen says, there is almost without a doubt a personal issue between the judge and defense. What is the connection creating a wedge there? Is this a test? That judge, Essex County, Tim Bradle. I don't know. I can't think of it on the spot. I feel like this is a riddle. I'm sorry, Britt. Essex County. I can't think of it. Okay, it's going to drive me crazy though. I'll come back to it and I'll try to give you an answer. I don't know. Or you tell me the answer in the chat. And sounds like Bev panting about grave concerns, right? It's just like is she having a diabetic episode on the bench? Did I ask her, do you have a couple of Werthers in your pocket, ma'am? Sorry, are you hangry? What are you doing? Why are you talking so recklessly? And Fairy Raven says, immunity for judges needs to be scrapped. Oop, you heard it here. You heard it here, and you are correct, in my opinion as well. Prosecutors and judges, you motherfuckers. The bad ones. Good ones, love you. But for the ones who believe that thy shit does not stink and that you shall do whatever you want without any repercussions or consequences in aftermath, no mas. Stop it. It's got to come to an end. And Legal Onlooker, thank you so much, says, this judge is shameless. I'm disgusted. The only danger to the community is this judge abusing her power and weaponizing the judiciary. I am a CRNA, former Brigham and Women's Hospital thoracic ICU nurse. I wish I could do more. You, babe, look at you. Look at you. You're a queen. You're a queen among us. You are here. You are talking. You are joining. You are telling other people. That's all we can do. We can help Kelsey from her legal defense fund, and you can show up and show out when it is her. If you're close to Essex County, if you felt comfortable, go to a hearing on the 7th. Say, I support you. I'm sorry that this is happening, but your voice matters. And you sticking up and standing up for others is what makes the difference. When we are collective and all of our voices are amplified. I love you. And Amy Lou says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry. No, I'm sorry. You didn't make me cry, babe. I feel badly. And I feel like that's just so heartbreaking to me. With the baby. And clearly, like the trauma of it all, like you're not pregnant now, right? And that just makes me sad. And it hit me kind of like, oh my God. All of it together. And the repercussions and the aftermath of choices that are made in split seconds. I feel for her. That's all. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate you always being here, Amy, and for telling me. And Kevy says, oh, Kev781, who's my guy? You're my guy. Kevy, tonight, are we dancing? Am I going to be there? Am I going to be there with bells on? Yeah, I am. Okay? Because I love your face. You're my number one guy. And to FKF, free Kelsey Fitzsimmons, 2025. People confuse the story when she went on call with her partner, infant mother, were no longer. Sorry, hold on. People confuse the story when she went on call with her partner, infant mother, were no longer. Okay, from the bad call that they went to the year before, that's when she was pregnant, not at the time of this incident. Also, the cop was her former partner. I thought I knew that. See? FKF 2025. I thought I knew that. I thought I heard that, but I didn't know if it was confirmed. It being her partner is so much more of a clusterfuck in my mind. Right, babes? Like if you're thinking about that, your partner who you went to an incredibly bad call where the worst outcome a year prior could have happened. But I'm going to say he has psychological aftermath and triggers from that too. What did they do for both of them? For everyone who attended that call, what was your aftercare? What did Andover Police Department do for you? Did you have leave? Were you sent to the psychiatrist to sign you off to come back? I need to know. Right? And if she was pregnant at that time and she was pregnant and then she had her baby and then she ends up having a postpartum and you know what you've went through the year before when you like, I can just imagine like the nightmare and the nightmares one might have. This will be a case that really could be in a history book, meaning of like medical stuff, like medical. Lindsay Clancy, another one. We have a very educated nurse who knew that she was not well, brought herself to McLean's, went to an inpatient stay, gets released 5 days later. And right after that, after the medications that they made it for adjustments, she ends up unthinkable of ending the life of her beautiful 3 children and leaping from a second-story window. It's unimaginable. Oh, loveys. And Megan Easton. Hi, Lovey. Thank you, Paul, Cedra, and most importantly, Nurse Kim. Cedra, I miss Cedra. Where is Cedra? Dave Cullinane and I should do absolutely a TikTok live and invite Cedra, who had quite a take on the Karen Reed trial after trial 1.0. On that note, loveys, let's do this one time just because we don't want to end like sad, because we are happy and we are like starting our week in all the positive way that we can.
Wife's in town? Oh, yeah. She having a good time? She always has a good time. Good.
pisses me off. She's a lovely lady. She's getting old. Well, women age like fine wine. She's aging like milk.
And that is Harvey Adelson in puppeteering form. I love you, loveys. I don't know if I'll do a live tonight, but I'll definitely do a Talk Shit Tuesday and go watch your queen, Melanie Little. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, great job on the news.
Thank you.
We will, Courtney and I will share what happened when we went to dinner last night, Sunday dinner coming up. And as